We're going to be introducing the Google Solution Challenge. So Google Solution Challenge is an annual contest. It happens every year and is especially run by Google Developer Student Club communities all over the world. And what we want to provide you is the ability to develop solutions for a local community problem using one or more Google products. So for example, what you can do is you can identify a certain need or a certain aspect of the Bryan College Station community that we're living at, and think of a solution that uses Google technologies, for example, like React or Firebase or Flutter or Google Assistant, and develop a solution. And the best part about it is that you are going to address one or more of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So in a little while, I'll be giving you all the link that will show you the registration form for the Solution Challenge. And that in that form, you would have to pick one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So to explain what the 17 Sustainable Development Goals are. So this was created by the United Nations in 2015 with support from over 190 United Nations member states. So the main aim of this is what we want to end poverty, want to ensure prosperity and protect the planet. So what you can do when you start on a solution challenge project and you've gone into a team of 4 people max, you're going to pick one of these 17 goals as a focus for your project, as a goal for your project. So are there any rules? Yes, there are rules. So one of the most important things is that you have to be above the age of majority at time of entry. And you also have to be a part of a Google Developer Student Club community, which means you have to either be part of GDSC Texas A&M if you are a Texas A&M student, or if you're connecting from outside of Texas A&M representing another university, you might want to connect with the university in your area and be part of that club before you can register for this challenge. And you need to have access to the internet as of January 11th. You all are on Zoom and watching this, so this should not be a problem. So for the entry requirements, as I mentioned, we have to address one or more of the 17 goals. And this has to be built and submitted only by a team of university or college students. So for example, a team of Texas A&M students. This does not mean that you cannot get mentorship outside of Texas A&M. You can have Google developer experts, you can have your friends or your parents or someone else who's experienced in a technology to kind of mentor you. But the actual team that's going to work on this project has to be university students. So you can have a maximum of 4 team members, including the member who submits the entry to this challenge. So teams must have at least one person that is in the GDSC community. So that's a very important requirement. And we have to use one or more of Google products. So in the next slide, I'll be showing you all some pictures, and I would like y'all to maybe unmute or put in the chat some of the Google technologies that you can recognize by the logo. So if y'all want to unmute and maybe share about it with the whole team. Y'all have any ideas what some of these could be? So this one is YouTube. This one is Google Maps. Can y'all recognize any of the other ones on this slide?
I think Firebase is on there.
Firebase, yes, that's Firebase right here. Randall said Google Cloud. Google Cloud is here, it's shaped like a cloud. We have TensorFlow, TF. So we have Flutter, this one right here in the top right. Yes, so some of the other ones are Google Maps, Google Assistant, Android. Yes, Google Assistant, Android, TensorFlow, YouTube. Yep, and that's all we have. And of course, there are much more than what's on the screen. I really encourage you all to do your research and pick a technology that you want. Not just one, it can be many as well. So for the YouTube video, for the challenge at the end, during the due date, you have to submit a 120-second max YouTube demonstration video that shows how your whole app or your whole prototype works. So it cannot be derogatory, offensive, or threatening in nature. We want to be explaining the whole app without using offensive language, and that's very important. It should not contain any content that's unlawful. So and also any third-party advertising slogan, logo, or trademark. So if that's the case, you make sure you have the right permissions and you're citing all the sources that you're using as part of the project so that you're not considered for plagiarism. And you must, at the end, show your working application that it's actually working. So the working application, it does not have to be deployed for Solution Challenge, even if it works locally on your laptop, and you can demo it on as a YouTube demonstration video. That also qualifies for the Solution Challenge. So at this point, we are going to be introducing two of our presenters who have joined our meeting. So one of them is Bhargav. Do you want to say hi?
Hey, yeah, my name is Bhargav.
Yep. And we also have Jong Ho.
Hello, I'm Jong Ho.
Yes. So me, Jong Ho, and Bhargav, we joined Google Developer Student Club when we were in freshman year. We were had like some experience in Python. We started almost with no experience. Like we were taking our fresh step, and we joined this project called we joined a project where we worked as a team to help a nonprofit that helps disabled dogs in the local College Station community. So what we did was to create an app to post to multiple social media platforms simultaneously. So we have a demo video right here, which I'll be showing y'all. So, 1 second. So that was the demo of our app that we created. And there's so much that went on in this app, this whole journey from start to finish. All of us started with no prior experience, and we were able to complete this in a span of a couple of months. So I'll hand the stage over first to Bhargav so he can explain how his project experience was. Go ahead,
Hey
Bhargav.
y'all. Hi, my name is Bhargav. I am a current junior and I'm studying chemical engineering, but I'm also minoring in computer science just to get a lot of programming experience because I feel like regardless of what major you're in, I think knowing how to program or understand how computers work at that level is very important in the real world. And so when I started DSC, like what Shreeman said, I really didn't have that much experience with coding. I had a basic understanding of how to use Python and doing simple commands on Python, but when it came to web development or anything related to that, I had no clue. So when I first started, I got a lot of help from some of the mentors within DSC and also some of the Google experts, and they gave me links on like how to get started on Flask, which is the web framework for the backend development that we used, and also like how to manage your project on through Git and Git Flow. That was something that was new to me because I also never really used Git in a more of a collaborative setting. I've mostly just been using it to like store code that I was writing, but never to actually do version control for a project, which if you guys are working in groups, it'll probably be a very good idea to learn about the Git flow method because it'll help make sure that your code is managed and you can kind of add stuff to like run scripts or to do test cases to make sure your code is constantly being functional as you're building the program itself. So below I provide some links just after the meeting. Maybe you guys can like go through and try to learn about a little bit of Git flow and Flask so that if you guys are planning to use it, it'll be some useful resources. Throughout the Wienerspiel project, I actually learned a lot about APIs. So if you saw in the video, we actually used the application actually was able to post things to the Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook platforms, and that was done through APIs. And so I had to learn a lot about like how the different social media APIs worked and how to use Python to do GET requests and stuff like that. Furthermore, like I said, I also had to learn how the Flask and the Git programs work so that I can actually do version control and start using backend web development to build the application from that end. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bhargav, for explaining your role in the project. You have been such an amazing member, and I think this whole team, we were amazed by the product that we created at the end. So really proud of you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So, and Jong Ho, it's your turn.
Hello, my name is Jong Ho, and I'm a junior applied mathematics major here in Texas A&M. So I mainly worked on the front end of this project, and so I'm like here to talk about how I learned new like front end technologies and applied it to the team project that we worked on for like a couple of months. So for this Winner's project, we mainly use React as a front end framework, and I think like some of you might know that there are many different kinds of front end frameworks, such as like React, Angular, or like Vue, and like these are mainly used to develop every like element you see on screen when you interact with the like web app or like mobile apps. And for this project, we use React because like the most of the components here are simple and easy to develop. And we thought this might be a great start for someone like me who doesn't have any like knowledge about the front end frameworks. So the question here is like, how did I learn the React like for the since I had no like experience with it? Well, like for me, I'm a visualization learner, so like I prefer learning through like real life examples and like watching videos. So I mostly learned through like YouTube videos, and I first watched the React tutorials to learn some like basic stuff about React. But for these tutorials, my like main purpose was to like get the big picture of the React and see what key components there are in there. And like right after finishing the tutorials, I started to like brainstorm myself how I'm going to use this React in this particular project. So like for example, I asked myself, like, am I going to use am I going to create a login page? Then how am I able to create those features using React? And as you all might know, that YouTube is always there for help. So there are many small crash courses on YouTube that show you how to like create specific features you want to create using React. And you can always watch that video and learn what you like specifically want to learn. And for me, I wanted to learn create a login page. So I watched a crash course video that creates a simple login feature using React. I just like for me, I just follow along the crash course video, and then like how YouTube just follow how the YouTuber like created the feature with React. And once I get stuck on something or I see like something like new concept, I stop the video and I try to read the documents or like view like watch another video that explains that concepts in detail. And then after I understood the concept, I went back to the crash course videos and resumed it. So that's like my main part of like learning process of the new technology. And this might not be the like too surprising for some of you, but I just wanted to say that this for me this was the most efficient and like fastest way to learn React before starting the team project. Because you can like concentrate and learn more on the features that you want to like put on the team project and allow you to like get on the head start on the project. So there are like there are many YouTubers out there who explains React very well. One of the like YouTubers that was really helpful for me was I posted on this PowerPoint. It's called Web Dev Simplified. He does a really good job explaining React, and he had like he's really easy to comprehend and easy to like follow along. So you guys, if you don't know like where to start, what to watch, just like you can always like go here and then like just like test it out. But I think these videos are like 2 or 3 years old, so I believe there might be a better videos that came out recently. So if you find something that seems more helpful for you, just go for it. These are just my recommendations. Okay, so and yeah, so this is all I have for you guys today, and thank you.
Thank you, Jong Ho, for sharing about your experience in the project. I think um, there's so many aspects that Jong Ho has well worked on, especially on the front end. Um, he created like a really like the initial design of the app that you also saw in the video, like the front end. So that was mostly designed on Figma, which is one of the tools that helps you kind of design the whole front end and add like components, and it can automatically convert it to HTML and CSS code that it can directly use in your project. So I'll be going into that a little more later in the presentation. But back to the solution challenge, I wanted to tell you all the general timeline and general steps. You might be asking yourself, how do I get started? Um, what's like the timeline? What's the next step that I need to take? So the first step is to join a GDSC community. So to join GDSC at Texas A&M, you can either join our Slack or our mailing list, or come for our events. You're already considered part of our Google Developer Student Club community. Just to reiterate that our club, we do not require you to mandatorily attend any number of workshops or pay like any dues for the semester. So if you find that a workshop is interesting, I really encourage you all to come because all of our workshops are really hands-on and practical. So once you have joined the Google Developer Student Club community, the next step is to form a team and register by March 17th. So I have included the registration link to the solution challenge right here. So if y'all can type it out, if y'all are interested in checking out the solution challenge, the Google form has like a lot more information on like the information on solution challenge specifically and the type of questions that you would have to answer. So if you have like any questions about like filling up the form, always let us know on Slack. The third thing is to select a UN Sustainable Development Goal. So out of the 17, you would want to ideally pick one, or you can also pick multiple when you're registering through the form. And the fourth thing is to identify a solution. So in this phase, we have to, once you kind of like identify a solution, you have to start implementing your solution. And what we did in our project, me, Jong Ho, and Bhargav, we basically used the agile development methodology. So we set up a Trello board, where you can write like a backlog of different tasks and assign it to each team member so that every week when we meet up, we always have something to update about. We always have like some roadblocks that we can share and tackle as a team. So remember, this is all a team effort. So if ever you feel stuck on a project or you need a resource, you always have your team to rely on. So you need to pick a design sprint methodology. Agile is one of them. There are many others like waterfall, spiral, and some other methodologies that you can explore that fits to your team. But overall, on this slide, I'm explaining the understand and define portion, which is to define the problem, and then you would start to move into the sketch portion, which is how Jong Ho was talking about, sketching it out on Figma or another front, like a tool that helps you design the front end. And then you can decide and you can start prototyping, you can start iteratively developing a solution. And then you can validate, which means you test the code or you go to your client or whoever you're building the project for. If it's like an NGO, you go to them and ask for their feedback and then improve your app, which is something that we did a lot when we had to talk with Wiener Spiel. So for those of y'all who are not in Slack right now, I would like to encourage you all to join our Slack channel. This is where we post all about our events and information about the events and the officers, and helps you connect and network with your peers. So we have a team formation tab on Slack. And this is where I'll encourage y'all, those of y'all who are interested in being part of the Google Solution Challenge, I would encourage you all to introduce with your name, your major, your current set of skills, your technical skills that you have, and whether you're looking for a team or you already have a team and we're finding like 1 or 2 or 3 people to join you. So I'll encourage you all to join the Slack. This challenge has started since January 11th, and the registration is gonna extend it's going to extend till March 17th. So if y'all still haven't found a team, I would encourage you all to introduce yourselves in the chat so we can get started. You can all start networking with your peers and find your teams. So the next part is to design the user interface. So we have a link to a video that explains how you can design a user interface, which I'll be showing you all right now.
The problem we're tackling is that college students on our campus find it difficult and time-consuming to find places to study, and our solution is a tool that lets students see study spot availability in real time. Now, this is very broad. We could end up building anything from a mobile app that lets students stream camera footage to a real-time VR experience, letting students roam around the campus library from their dorm room. Now, it's time to design how users will engage with our solution. My name is Arman Hezarkhani, and in this video, we will discuss interface design. Welcome to the Developer Student Club's Solution Challenge. Interface design has two parts: user experience and user interface, UX and UI for short. UX covers how people will use the solution, while UI covers what the solution looks and feels like. A lot of UX is research, and this research is done in cycles. The first step in the cycle is build. The point of this step is to create a prototype that you can learn from, so don't spend time making them super detailed or beautiful. In fact, most of the time, users will be most honest with you if your prototypes don't look perfect, because it'll seem like the idea is in its early stages and more malleable. After you build, it's time to measure. For this step, you should conduct some user research. This is admittedly very difficult, so here are a few quick tips. If a participant asks you a question, take note of it, but don't answer. Pause, then respond with another question. Have 2 people from your team attend each interview. One should engage with the participant while the other is furiously writing down notes. Don't ask, "Hey, what do you think of my app?" Instead, ask users to complete a task and take note of any friction they face in trying to complete that task. If you're building a calendar app, for example, you could ask a user to create a new event or delete an existing event. Lastly, it's time to learn. For this step, get together with your team and compile all the feedback to see what worked and what didn't. Then, of course, it's time to repeat. After you've completed the build, measure, learn cycle enough times, you'll want to move on to building a higher fidelity mockup. This is where UI comes in. When you're thinking about UI, there are 3 things to keep in mind: design principles, design elements, and UI patterns. Design principles are things like information hierarchy and proportion. Information hierarchy is the arrangement of data such that it creates an order of importance. For example, when you're looking at someone's resume or CV, can you easily find their name? Can you easily find their work experience? If not, the document needs better information hierarchy. Design elements are things like color and shapes. These may seem simple, but their use can greatly affect design principles and the usability of your solution. For example, think about what it means for text to be highlighted as red. Good use of design principles and design elements is hard to master. Luckily, people have been doing this for a while, so your users have been trained to use tools a certain way. For example, if a user sees a square checkbox, they know they can select more than one option. If a user sees a button, they know they can click it, and if that button has a little triangle on it, clicking it will reveal more options. This is great news. It means we don't necessarily need to be professionals in color theory to design highly usable and even beautiful solutions. We can simply make use of these commonly used UI patterns. When creating any piece of technology, you should start by identifying the problem, then broadly identifying the solution. We just discussed the third step, designing the interface, which allows us to decide how a user will interact with our solution. Now, you have an interface and you're one step closer to building a great solution that'll touch lives right in your community.
All right. So the video basically explained how you're going to design the user interface for the project that you'll be developing on. So not just the user interface, the next step is also to design the backend technology. For example, the project that we were talking about, we were using Flask as the backend. So steps 5 and 6, they don't necessarily go one after another. They can go together at the same time. So I would like you all to take note of that. And if ever you feel stuck on a project, you're unsure what's the next step to take, or you feel like this is getting out of hand, you need more resources or you need someone to talk to, we have our project manager, Dhruv, who is on our core officer team. You can reach out to him through Slack. And we also have Google developer experts, some of them who have already given some workshops to our club. So we can reach out to them and they'll be able to suggest solutions or ways to get around your problems. So you always have the support that you need. The last 3 steps is to first test your solution. So make sure that you're running the solution locally, you're able to connect with the right APIs, and basically even let the client use it, for example, and see from their perspective the app is working. And step 8 is to iterate on your project, gather feedback, gather resources, and continuously make the app more appealing, for example. And then the last step is, once you're done with the app and all of your teammates are satisfied with the last iteration and the final product, is to record the demo video and submit it anytime between this 2-week time frame. So after March 31st, Solution Challenge will end and it will be going into the upcoming stages. So the link to the Solution Challenge submission form is also here. So if y'all want to take a look through it and what to expect, y'all can click on this link or type it out. So judging. So what exactly happens after you submit the project? So we will have judges who are a panel of experts who are employees of sponsor or registered members of the GDE program, employees of UNICEF or UN, who are part of the Sustainable Development Goals. So after you submit, there will be a judging period for about a month, and the top 100 entries all around the world would be selected. So after that, during May, there will be another round where you will be able to submit another iteration of the project out of the top 100 entries. So only the top 100 entries are able to submit. And then there will be a second round of judging from June 1 to June 15. And from those 100 entries that just submitted, the top 10 will be selected. And during this special occasion, which is called Demo Day, what's going to happen is all 10 teams are going to be presenting, like doing like a mini presentation for about 5 to 10 minutes on what their project is, for example, on Google Slides or on PowerPoint. And out of the 10, one of the project, the top 3 entries would be selected to receive cool sets of prizes, which I'll be showing y'all later. So you might be asking, like, how we have like rubrics for assignments in classes. How are these judges going to evaluate your project, whether it's going to qualify or not? So I have listed out a list of different 2 main things that you look out for. One is impact and another is technology. So both are equally distributed, 25 points each, accumulating to 50 points. So it goes down to 5 points for each bullet point. So if first of all, it has to establish a clear challenge, and then it has to explain why you chose a certain sustainable development goal and the targets that you chose for your solution. You also need to ensure that you have feedback from the users, whether it be a client or someone else who uses the app and gives you feedback. You also want to explain how the solution addresses the challenge and whether it has certain metrics or goals. And then you want to also explain a clear plan for a future extension to a larger audience. For example, if you have built an app for a local community, you might be thinking about how you can expand it to a more regional or even like a global scale product, for example. And then the actual technology, which will be the technical components of the project. So the architecture, the high-level components, the specific products, especially the Google technology that you use, that must be clearly identified. And then you also want to explain the technical components, different code testing that you all implemented. For example, did you all use unit testing, or did you all test code locally and while deployed, and kind of highlight the challenges that you all faced. You also want to talk about the video demonstration as well as in a solution in its current form or minor structural changes, support more users and increase scale. So the impact and the technology section are very linked to each other. So this is the criteria that the judges will be using to evaluate the project. So now for the fun stuff. So you get selected as the top 50 and top, excuse me. I would have to change this number here. It should be top 100 entries instead of top 50 entries. But for those top 100 entries, you'll be getting branded t-shirts. And qualifying teams will also receive some swag and the certificate, which is amazing, honestly. And then once we go to the second round of judging, the top 10 entries will be selected, and you'll be able to present your challenge during demo day. And you will also have the mentorship from Googlers and Google developer experts. And you also have a $1,000 to each individual as a gift. And after demo day, the top 3 winners will win all of this plus a $3,000 for each individual. So we are at the end of the presentation. So we'll have a Q&A section for the remaining time. So if you all have any questions about Solution Challenge, or if you want to ask Jong Ho, Bhargav, and I about GDSC or the project experience, you can feel free to unmute and share. So thank you.